Right now on Inside Texoma, we have quite a treat for you. We are talking about the Santa Express Train Show. It's right here in Wichita Falls, and we are actually talking to the conductor and narrator himself, the man who started it all, Mr. Jim Hughes. And Mr. Hughes, if you can just let everyone at home know a little bit of a sneak peek about what we're going to be talking about.
Well, you're going to enter into a room that's really kind of make-believe, and it has its own little villages and mountains and water and a lot of trains.
So much going on, and it's just quite impressive. It's definitely a show you don't want to miss. It all starts right now on Inside Texoma. Good morning, Texoma. I'm Ashley Fitzwater. Thanks for joining us for Inside Texoma. This morning we are taking a special look at the history of the Santa Express Train Show that's actually taking place right now in Wichita Falls, and all benefiting such a wonderful cause. It's an adventure and model railway, and it actually all got started from the dream of a 3-year-old. And joining me now to talk about just that, the Santa Express story, of course, is Mr. Jim Hughes, the conductor himself. Thank you so much, Mr. Hughes, for being here today to really share your story and so much about this exciting time. So tell us how this all got started and your love for trains and how you made this all come about.
Well, it started in 1941, about the time of Pearl Harbor. And I had seen an advertisement in Saturday Evening Post. I was 3 years old, and it was an electric train, and that's what I wanted. Mother kept saying, well, what would you like for Christmas? And I kept saying an electric train. But she said, no, Santa can't do that. And wrong time, you know, with all the war and everything. But came Christmas Eve, she told my dad, this kid is not going to accept anything else. So my dad got out on Christmas Eve in a blinding snowstorm, downtown Dallas, and there was a department store, and they had one train set left, and that's what he bought.
Wow.
And that started it, and we put the train up in the attic with the Christmas decorations, and we'd get it down each Christmas, but we always added something new, and so it just kept growing and growing, and soon it was too big for the house and had to go to the garage. And then my little brother came along, and we shared it, and he developed a keen interest in it, as I did, and we just kept growing.
Wow. So did it ever become something that you left out all year, or was this always surrounded around Christmas?
Always Christmas.
Always Christmas. So if it was up in the garage, it was only up for the Christmas time, correct?
It was in boxes up in the attic of the garage.
That is pretty cool. So tell me how it got from a collection, basically, and something, you know, as a child that you loved, to something that you started sharing with the community and, you know, developed it into basically a train show.
Well, our first time to show it to the public was in 1954, and it was a Boy Scout Scoutorama. There was the old 4-H barns out on Midwestern Parkway, and we set up some tables there and showed it for the first time. And then after that we thought, well, this is pretty neat, let's just keep doing it. And we did that till I went off to college, and my brother kept it going, and then after that he graduated from college and moved to Louisville, and so we'd set it up here in Wichita Falls one Christmas, and the next Christmas we'd pack it up in a U-Haul trailer and
Wow.
take it to Louisville and set up down there, and we'd swap back and forth. But it got too big. And in 1978, we decided to split the collection. So what you're going to see is my half.
Wow.
And his half he still has.
That is so impressive. It got so big you actually split it. And if you've ever seen it, it doesn't seem like half of anything. It seems like a full collection. So you truly did add every single year then, correct?
We did. It's an accumulation. It sure is.
Now, was it only something every Christmas you would add, or over the years did you start picking up stuff maybe in the middle of the year or throughout the year?
Well, the last several years we go to train shows.
Uh-huh.
And they have some in Fort Worth and Dallas and Oklahoma City, and just depending on when those are, we might pick up something here and there. We always look for something that 4- and 5-year-olds would really like, something that moves and does something, and if they'd like it, well, that's what we use.
Everybody's going to like it then.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good age to be targeting, and, you know, close to the age where you really kind of got involved. Now, let me kind of go back a little bit when you were talking about the Boy Scouts. What was the age that, you know, whenever you first started showing, how old were you then?
Well, I was 16.
You were 16. And then your brother
was 8.
8 years old. And that's when you started showcasing all of this.
That's when we did.
How exciting. And this was all in Dallas then, correct?
No, this was all here.
It was in Wichita Falls.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad, whenever he drove to Dallas, he drove from Wichita Falls to go get that train that one time?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. No, we lived in Dallas.
You lived
at
in
the
Dallas.
time.
And then so when did the trains and everything make the move here then to Wichita Falls?
Our family moved here in 1947.
Okay.
And so we were here 7 years when we set up on 4-H farm.
How exciting. So that's all been part of Wichita Falls history then.
Right.
You know,
right.
since you were young, since you started showcasing, it all started right here in the Falls. That's so exciting. And then kind of going back and forth between Dallas and Wichita Falls, sharing it. So how exciting.
And we, over the years, tried to set up every Christmas. Then, as I got older, we set up every other Christmas. And now that I'm really getting older, we set up every third Christmas. And it takes me a little while to recuperate. But you have to remember that from the time we move into the museum to the time we move out is 7 months.
Wow.
And that's working every single day except Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Goodness.
So it's quite a commitment.
I bet. Well, we have so much more to talk about, I know, and also how your family now, this tradition and love for trains being passed on, you know, to the next generations, which I just think is incredible. So much more on the train show, Santa Express story. It's all coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more on Inside Texoma. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, I am joined with Mr. Jim Hughes, and we are talking about not only the Santa Express story, but also Santa's Express train show and how people can come out and see it. It's on display right now. We're, of course, going to give you all the times, the dates, the location, you name it. We have it all for you. But first, we're sharing a little bit about how this all got started, and it's so impressive. Mr. Hughes telling us how, as a child of 3 years old, your love for trains, and there's just been a love for trains ever since then, that has grown into something pretty awesome. Now, you had told us just before the break how you would set up, you know, as a teenager with your brother and kind of show off your collection to everyone. Where did you set up? Where was that here in Wichita Falls that people would come out and see?
We had various locations. One year we were downtown at the old Firestone building. Other times we were in our Boy Scout hut. We set up in Iowa Park one year. So just any place we could find a vacant building that was big enough to hold us.
And I know you said many times there was no heat in those vacant buildings either.
Several years we went without any heat. So, but we learned how to look for vacant buildings that did have some heat.
I bet. Something else I thought was really interesting and honestly quite impressive for, you know, some young people who are setting all of this up is what you did with as far as an admission fee, so to speak, or Tell everyone at home what you were saying about the charge and what it costs people to get in.
Well, we kind of like to do this as a family project, and it's our way of telling the community thank you and have a Merry Christmas. So we didn't charge anything. We put a donation jar at the front door if people like to drop something in, and then we'd give it to some charity. The School for Listening Eyes was a favorite of mine and my brother, and some other charities, but we'd give it all to somebody, and just to help other people.
That's so great. And I just love how you said you did all of this and you're still doing all of this just to tell everyone in Texoma Merry Christmas, huh? Just to show your love for all of this.
Well, we got such a kick out of it with being kids and enjoying electric trains that we wanted the other little 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds to have the same experience.
Tell me how it is whenever you see kids come in and you're narrating and you're walking them through all of this. What is the best part about all of that and what you get to do?
Well, there's several good parts. The very first one is when they enter the room, and it's just a wow. It's kind of overcoming to see the size of it, and then when they start to see things operate and move and all the little things that they like to see. For example, we have a parade, and we have all of the cartoon characters, and we'll let them identify them all. And of course, one of the popular ones right now is Mater. And they they scream at that. And Spider-Man's up on top of one of the buildings. And so they have all kinds of reaction. But when the trains come out of a tunnel and they're blowing their horn, they react. And it's so fun to see them. Some will scream, some will clap their hands. Look, Mama, look, Daddy.
Makes all that hard work and all those hours worth it, huh?
That's our paycheck.
Absolutely, that's so neat. Can you kind of give us a little bit the details of what's making up these trains? Because there's some interesting, facts when it comes to this, just how big it is, the square feet, and maybe how many of different items that you have.
We have 1,250 square feet of table space, which is about the size of a small house. And it's on 3 different levels. We have 20 trains that'll run at the same time. There's 120 buildings, 390 vehicles. And a lot of these cars and trucks we've collected over the years, and they go back to the 50s and 60s. And we'll have a lot of moms and dads that'll say, hey, look, there's a 57 Chevrolet, which has nothing to do with trains, but it's all part of the town scenery. We have a ton of trees all over. We've got lots of animals, and we hand paint all the people that populate this, and we have over 1,540 just hand painted people.
And you all do this? You're the ones who are painting?
During the off time, we do the painting.
That's so impressive. Oh my goodness. So there's just so much, and you were talking about just the hours involved, just countless, endless hours basically to make all of this come together, correct?
We'll have around between 2,000 and 2,500 man hours in the setup.
That's just the setup.
Not including the running time.
Goodness. Or, just everything else you have to do, like you were saying, to maintain things. So tell me, who helps you do all this?
Well, it's a family project. My brother that I grew up with lives in Mansfield over by Fort Worth, and he comes up and helps. I'm kind of a layout person, that does all the track and everything, and he's an electrical
Oh.
guy, and so he does most of the electrical work. And then the rest of the family all pitch in, and I have 3 sons, 3 grandsons, and 2 granddaughters. They're all right here, and at one time or another, they're all helping. And my 3 sons kind of take an area to specialize in. For example, my youngest son likes the farm, and so he does the farm layout. And then another one of my sons likes the missile base, and he'll do that. And now, next time we set up, they might switch around and do something different. But they tend to like those areas, and it's good because they become creative, and all of this is done with scenery, and so it's quite an art display in itself.
Is it different then? Would you say it looks different to you, or do you try to, keep it the same as far as, that area? Or do you try to change it up a little bit, every 3 years whenever it's shown off? Or, how do you know where it all goes? How do you remember all of that?
It's never the same.
Never the same. That's what I was thinking.
And the reason is that it keeps it new for us.
Sure.
And it keeps it new for the public. If they were to see the same old thing in the same place every time, it wouldn't be near as exciting.
Sure.
As when it's brand new to everybody.
So you can always come out every time it's shown. Just another reason to come out and show the kiddos or the grandkids, whatever it may be, or just yourself, if you have a love for electric trains as well, to check it out. So, because this is definitely a family event, I know, and as you mentioned, your entire family works to put this together. So that's so impressive. Well, we need to take another quick break, but we have so much more, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Inside Texoma.